Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Box Seats. Today I'm Frank Holder. Tomorrow I'm not gonna be. I'm mad. I'm Frank Holder. That's talent. That's Fig. You're watching Box Seats, and if you guys don't know, these comics have been around for a long time. They've been in a lot of things, from Def Comedy Jam. They've been in films, in television, and the comedy specials. They've even been on the comedy beat. But this is the show, like I always say, this is the show where we talk about sports. So comedy, talk about sport. That's what we do. Now I got that out of the way. Okay, we got that out of the way right now. I've been upset myself from hearing a couple of things about the NBA rumor mill. We're going to jump to that. I heard some things. You all heard some things. We're going to talk about that. But we got to first talk about the NFL because some news broke out this morning that Tua Tagovailoa, I can never pronounce it.
Tagovailoa.
Whatever the guy's name is. They're moving forward with having him start in Miami. Now, I think personally that's an excellent move because Miami's clearly out of it. And they need to work on, obviously trying to figure out who their QB is going to be for next season. Ryan Fitzpatrick is obviously not going to be it. So, Talon, do you think this is a good move to get this rookie QB in and get him some reps right now? Since they already know, I mean, let's be honest, they're not going to get so far. You know what I mean? Why not? That's the way I look at it. What's your thoughts?
Well, yeah. I mean, if there's any time where you can get some rep, this is like a cheat code for getting some playing time for your backup QB, who's your future. This is the perfect time. You're right. This is the time to get those reps in. You know what I mean? This is free time. Any losing team, like the Jets, any losing team, this is Giants. This is free. This is free time. You know what I mean? You don't get this during the real season. If you're in a competitive season and you got some wins and losses and you're trying to get to the chip, you play that joint real close to the vest. But now you can take the horse blinders off and try some things. Right. And because this is a free season, so to speak. Right. You're not going to be a contender. You damn sure not doing no playoff run. And so right now, Frank, I empty the bench.
That's what I would do too. Frank, what would you do? You think it's a smart move for Miami to get him out there, QB?
No way. Hell no. Listen, this kid, which could possibly be the future of your franchise, is coming off what could be or what could have been a career-ending injury. Mm-hmm. And it hasn't been a long time. The longer you wait, the stronger this kid hip will be. You know what I mean? So, and then the reason why I say that is Miami ain't got no damn line.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't got no line to protect this kid. He's going to be running for his life. Hell no. You putting your franchise on the line. You ain't got nobody to protect him. You better leave that old-ass quarterback out there and let him get beat up. That ain't the future of your franchise. Mm-hmm. That's like putting your kid out in front of two-way traffic. What the hell are you doing? Mm-hmm. You're going to get this kid killed. And you're going to break his confidence. That's the way to break the confidence of a young player, is to put him in harm's way, man. We've seen that too many times, man. And yo, man, they do it all the time. They always do it to the Brown quarterbacks. And then when they don't do well, then everybody talk about, well, he was the first round pick and we expected him to be this. You got to carry a team. You can't carry a team without a line.
Well, look at this. Look at it this way. Maybe they've seen something in practice, like how Kansas City saw with Patrick Mahomes, and say, you know what, this kid is really special. Like when Patrick Mahomes came in, the Chiefs were sitting there saying, this kid is really, really special. They rushed out Alex Smith to get it. They shipped him out fast on a two-way. It's almost the same thing's happening again. Now, we haven't seen what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe this kid is running around and maybe he's running and throwing accurately. Maybe, we don't know. But the way I said it to talent right now, and I'm saying it to you, is they ain't got nothing else to lose except games. You know what I mean? Like
they're gonna lose their quarterback. Here, let me ask you this: who had the better line, the Kansas City Chiefs or Miami Dolphins?
Well, to be honest with you, it's almost the same because Kansas City Chiefs line at the time was pretty bad too. That's how Alex Smith got hurt in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like he got hurt. He was running around, so he got hurt. So that's not a good comparison because he got hurt.
Hey, Frank. At times it's so bad it got Frank sounding like President 4-5. What do you got to lose? What do you Negroes got?
Speaking of this, now let me jump on, something that Rodney Perry always says. I pull out these Pelican brief, type of thought patterns now. Now I'm gonna say this: the Dallas Cowboys lost last night, right? Now I don't know about y'all if y'all watched the game, but have you ever seen Zeke Elliott lose 2 consecutive fumbles in a row? And have you ever seen him even hold the ball like that? Now remember this Pelican brief idea I had not too long ago when I was saying, what happens if the team camaraderie is getting around and they're saying, you know what? We really behind Dak. You want Dak to get paid and everything else. And what happens if it looked, they're sitting and they had this meeting and saying, you know what? Let's put our momentum behind trying to win the game, but we still want Dak to win. And maybe if we make some mistakes here and there, here coming. Because right now, last night, the mistakes the Dallas Cowboys made, they look worse than the worst team in the league. Like, they look absolutely horrible. They had no discipline. They were fumbling the ball. The offensive line was hard. I mean, clear across the board. They were horrible. So, do you think it's that far-fetched now, talent? I mean, I did throw it out there as a joke last week, but damn, after watching last night's game, I'm like, you know what? That might not be that funny. You know what I mean? What you thought, Tal?
Well, no, I think it ain't far-fetched no more. I mean, sometimes we speak stuff into fruition. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're playing around or you have a thought, and then that thought the energy's in the universe. And then we see it play out. We go, oh, man, what just happened? You do it all the time. Sports are no stranger to that. You know what I mean? I think I watched the game. I watched the game. Yeah. I watched both games last night. And the problem was Dallas, the commentator of last night's game said what I was thinking. And I'm like, okay, when a star goes down, this is the time for other people to step up and shine and make their bones, so to speak, and get that cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
They came into this game laying down.
Yeah.
You got the sense early on, towards the end of that first quarter, like, they're not here to play. I think when Dak went down, if not the air going out of 1 or 2 tires, it went out all the tires.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Right. And I think they're hanging their future on that injury instead of trying to get together on some other level, find some alternatives, and flourish and let some people make a name. This is the time. I'm telling you, when a star goes down, it's time for another name to flourish. I.e., we talk about all the time with the bubble. We went into the bubble with the NBA, and all of these names start coming up. It was like, yo, you see how so-and-so balling? You see how so-and-so balling? And because some people opted out, some people team ain't make it, some people were injured, this is the time to make your name and shine. Mm-hmm. And I think that they're not ready for that. I think they went the other way. Ain't but 2 ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they went the other way.
I said the exact same thing. I have never seen the Cowboys play that bad. I can't remember the last time the Cowboys played that bad. I'm not a Cowboys fan, so I wasn't rooting for them. I wasn't rooting against them. I was just watching the game as a casual fan. So, Frank, I throw it to you. What I said, it wasn't even a week ago. That seemed too preposterous to you? Like, it seemed like the Cowboys just like, you know what? We're going to just be out here, collect our checks. We're going to just do what we do. That's the way I look at it. What you thought, Faye?
You know what? It seemed kind of strange that would happen, right after what you said. But the thing I was looking at, I was watching the game is the Cowboys seem outmatched, man. They're not a very good team. The offensive line that everybody used to talk about before, that ain't the same line. Them guys, that ain't the same offensive line. And Zeke, here's the funny thing. He had on a T-shirt last night under his jersey. Mm. And the way it looked to me, it looked like the ball was coming. It didn't look like nobody stripped it. It looked like it was sliding out of his hand because he had the T-shirt on. I'm like, yo, the first thing I thought in my mind, it happened 2 times. I was like, yo, dude, why don't you take off this T-shirt? Because it's easy to rip the ball out of your arm when you wearing this T-shirt, man. It just looks stupid. I'm like, yo, take the T-shirt off, B. It like you losing the ball before you even get there.
Fig, stop acting like you're not from New York and know what it is, man. He got the shirt underneath there. They going to the club right after the game.
Oh yeah, there you go. But you know what? The first time he was coming around the corner, he was holding the ball like this. I've never seen a running back hold the ball like he was literally holding the ball like this. And he's cutting, running around. I was like, why doesn't he have the ball tucked? And as soon as he had the ball like that, the defender came around and hit the ball right out of his hand.
Knocked it right out of his hand. That was the first one, but the second one, the ball came out. Ain't nobody even touched. And ball was coming out before anybody touched him.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist. Maybe I am Pelican Brief, like Rodney Perry said. I don't know. All I know is it just looked really suspect the way it has, as horrible as the Cowboys played last night. But let's talk about the Bills and the Chiefs last night. Now, I want to ask you, Talent, if you saw the game, the Bills had a really good shot to beat the Chiefs, minus a couple of miscues here and there. You know what I mean? They literally could have came back and tied the game. My question to you is, why didn't those boys play up-tempo like they were playing in the last game when they came back? Why didn't they play like that the whole game? I was watching the game saying to myself, if they had played like this the whole game, this game would have been tighter. If not, they would have been winning.
So let me explain something to everybody that's out there tuned in that's never been to a Buffalo game.
Here we go.
No, this is real talk. Like, it took, when you go back to the classic Buffalo Bills with the Bruce Smiths and the Jimmy Kellys and all that, when you go back to the game, the Thurman Thomas, it took them a bunch of years to get accustomed to Buffalo weather. Mm-hmm. Now that you have this young team, right? A lot of these guys are new there. A lot of these guys in their second season, first season, mm-hmm. third season, they ain't been there long enough to experience Buffalo weather. So the first thing I noticed watching this game, I said, wait a minute. I said, where they playing? So I'm in the bar. Old guy next to me in the bar, old white guy goes, they up in Buffalo. I said, really? So I said, it looked like it's raining. He was like, yeah. And they said it's 50 degrees and dropping. I said, dude, this is about to be some sloppy weather right here and cold, chilly rain. Yeah. So if you're not used to a Buffalo game, thank God ain't no fans this year, right? But
right.
If for the person playing that's never experienced that weather, did you not see every time somebody hit that turf, that water splash up and all that? Yeah. It was one of those fair weather games, bro, that because I haven't been playing here a long time, is anybody's game up for grabs. Yeah. When I've been there for a while in this city, playing in this arena, I got the upper hand. But right. Not until I got some years under my belt. So they kind of, as the game got late on, you see them start to slow down and play different.
Yeah.
The weather took that totally out of their hands, and you got a more skillful team against this team and the weather. And if you say it's anybody's game, of course you're going to lose to the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. To add on what you're saying, it seemed like the Chiefs adapted faster than the Bills did in the Bills' home field. You know what I mean? The Bills weren't running the ball the way the Chiefs were. Everybody knows the Chiefs throw the ball all the time. All of a sudden, they started running the ball. I was like, okay, something's not right here. Right, Fig? Because I'm thinking these boys are running, and the Bills couldn't stop them from running. But
it makes sense, Frank, because Kansas City gets weather.
Right.
And that team, them guys been playing together for years now.
Yeah.
This team got a lot of new bodies, bro.
Yeah. I agree with that. Fig, what you think when you saw that last night?
I go back to what y'all was saying. It was the weather to me because the one thing that like I said, when it gets late in the year, I think I said it yesterday, when you get late in the season and the weather starts to change, the teams that are able to run the ball are the ones who seem to do best, or unless you're playing in a dome, because inclement weather is not set up for throwing the ball for 500 yards a game and stuff like that. That's not inclement weather. You need to be able to run the ball. You need to have a diverse attack. And you yesterday, it was perfect what Talon said. It was 50 degrees. And let me tell you something. That's not your average 50 degrees. 50 degrees in Buffalo and 50 degrees in Florida is different. You understand what I'm saying? 50 degrees in Buffalo is like 30 degrees in Florida. And then it was raining on top of that. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And I think one of the commentators said they had to do something to doctor the field before the game was even played. So that explains everything right there. I mean, look, Buffalo, you were supposed to do ground and pound just like the Chiefs was doing, and that would have been your best option. But they didn't do that.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened. I was sitting there looking and saying to myself, this is going to be one of the most even games because the weather, you all know, we watch football. When it's inclement weather, when it's bad, it evens out. The team that's really fast ain't going to be fast. The team that's, you know what I mean? Everybody's going to be on the same level, but Buffalo didn't take advantage.
Yesterday, Clyde Douglas-Helaire looked like Barry Sanders.
He sure did.
I'm like, he was running all over the place. They couldn't even catch him, man. He was running, and he's a rookie. He was running off chunks of yards, man, 10 yards, 15 yards. I'm like, oh my God, like he ran all over the field yesterday. It was crazy. I'm like, yo, we know he's good, but yesterday he was exceptional.
I will say this. I know Le'Veon Bell was sitting at home last night watching that game saying, boy, I can't wait. Like, how you all going to stop a two-10 tangent with me and him? Y'all are in trouble. I know they were saying that last. I know people were sitting there because I was sitting there as a Patriots fan. I was shaking in my boots. I was like, this ain't going to be the year. Because they were looking real good. But speaking of the Patriots, you know, I was trying to not talk about this conversation. I was trying not to have it because Cam Newton looked horrible. You know what I mean? The Patriots look horrible. The whole team looked horrible. But not to give excuses for the Patriots because they won't. But they have practiced one time in 14 days. COVID hit them bad. But I will say this to you right now. There's no excuses in football. You know what I mean? If you set to play, you're supposed to play, right? If right talent, that's the way you're supposed to play. No excuse.
Once they signed on for this, bro, I told you, like, you can't harp on that. We can't use the COVID. You know, COVID would have to blanket everybody all at the same time and shut it down. If the season's going on and teams are playing, you got to suck it up and play. This is why we got second and third string.
Right. So let me ask you this question for you. Do you think that this is going to hurt Cam's chances of getting that super contract that he's trying to get? Because, you know, everybody's going to be looking at you saying, well, you know, that game you played back in week 5, you know what I'm saying? You know, they're going to, people, and not just Bill Belichick, everybody across the league, because when he's trying to get paid, because he's trying to line up to make sure he gets paid at the end of the year. He can't really have one bad game. You know what I'm saying?
But I think you can. His correction. I disagree with that. I think you can have a couple of bad games, but they have to come in the early part of the season. So if we're dealing with a 16-game season, right? That's four games a quarter. So four quarters make 16. I think after about week 6 or 7, now it's intense and every game counts more so, and you cannot afford to have a game he had like he just had. He could do it because it was only week 5?
Yeah, week 5.
So I give him one more week, maybe 2. You have no more room for error like that.
Okay. All right, Fig, do you think that hurt his contract chances with how bad he played? Because let's be honest, the first couple of games he played, he was lights out. He could have beat Seattle if they should have beat Seattle, right? But on the next time, they did not beat Seattle because of that last, you know, obviously the last run. He didn't beat Seattle. He didn't play against the Kansas City game because of COVID. But the other 2 games, they basically beat. So his contract was looking pretty good until that last game that he just played when he looked horrible. He was underthrowing passes. He wasn't running. He got sacked, I think, twice. He just didn't look like Cam of old. So do you think that hurt his contract chances at the end of the year? You know what I mean?
You know, it's a funny thing, man. I don't know if it hurt his chances. It's a funny thing. Here's the thing. It's a funny thing about COVID. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows, even after you have it, how it's going to affect you later. And he did test positive. Right. You know what I mean? So we don't know what the lingering effects are of the COVID, even after you COVID negative, because some people that get it, they have some lingering effects. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where it affects them later on down the line. We don't even know what that is. I didn't hear anything come out, but he didn't look himself. Clearly, he didn't look the way he did previously last game. So maybe that has something to do with it. But like Talon said, man, he's still got a couple of weeks, you know, to bring it back into form. And the truth is, I don't think anybody really expected that team to go anywhere, because when you look at their roster, they really don't have anybody. I mean, they basically got Cam and a bunch of no-name players. You know what I mean? The fact that they won any games at all is a miracle to me. And it was every game that they won was on Cam's shoulders. I mean, I expect them to beat teams like maybe the Jets, Miami.
Well, let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly. You surprised any game they win, the Patriots win? You're surprised they win any game?
They had the only person they had on their team that you could say is a skilled player or a star player is Cam Newton. Okay. You take a quarterback that doesn't have his mobility or his ability to do the things that he does. I don't think they win at all. Give me a pocket quarterback in the New England Patriots, and I don't think they win anything at all.
Okay, let me just
Cam carried every win that they got. He carried that team.
Let me just throw this flyer out there for you. Before the Patriots won any Super Bowl, nobody knew who any of them were. You know what I mean? Because they had a coach called Bill Belichick. Nobody.
Okay, let's give it that.
I'm just saying. You don't.
Then put it on Bill.
No, I'm saying this.
I knew that was coming.
Bill's getting ready to come and do something. But we'll see. I don't want to talk anymore about the Patriots because the time is running up. But we will finish this conversation tomorrow because your Big said something really serious there tomorrow. I almost took that to heart. I almost had a heart.
I know. I was laughing and looking at you adjust your seat.
I'm looking at him like, what? I almost jumped over here like, what?
Big, while you was talking, he was doing it.
So, all right, just do me a favor. Name me one star player on there other than Cam Newton.
No, Julian Edelman. That's a star.
But hold up, though. That's not fair.
It doesn't matter. They don't win.
That's not a fair statement because just because you known or unknown doesn't mean you're not a good player. So they can still have a good team with good pieces. We just don't know them yet.
Yeah, and that's what Bill Belichick does every single year. He creates the stars, and then once they become stars, they go to other teams. That happens every single year. Everybody knows if you follow they do that all the time because Bill Belichick ain't paying nobody. Once you get to that star level, when you break that bracket of saying, okay, I'm gonna be a star, he gets you're gone. Or he'll bring you on your tail end of your career and you're already a star. Then he'll bring you in when you almost out the league. I mean, you could go down a whole list of wide receivers and go through that. He does that from Ocho Cinco to Randy Moss to a whole bunch of guys. He does that all the time. But anyway, let's talk about this. We got to move to the NBA because some NBA news jumped off, and something just really stood out to me is that the Indiana Pacers hired former Raptors assistant coach Nate Bjorkgren of their next head coach, and everybody's reporting that right now. I even see it flashing on ESPN. The crazy thing about this is that he was interviewed and nobody even heard about them interviewing anybody else. Seemed like he was lined up for the job, regardless, he was going to get it anyway. So what's your thought, Talent? I'm going to throw it out to you. What's your thought of the Indiana Pacers signing Nate Bjorkgren? I can't even pronounce his name. What are your thoughts about that? No, now here's the caveat. The brother has no head coaching experience, but he's been a part of the Raptors, carousel for a couple of years now. So what's your thought when you hear this right now?
Well, this is breaking news for me. But going off of what you said about they haven't even been interviewing other people, then that's an indication that this job was already waiting for you.
Yeah, it was.
Some form of this deal was cut behind some closed door that the powers that be didn't know about it because we talk every week on the show. We mentioned 6 to 7 potential head coaches waiting in the wings.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a top team. You're Indiana Pacers, and you didn't interview none of these 6 or 7 guys. And then all of a sudden, a guy who wasn't even on our radar, like you said, no coaching experience. Boom, he's got the job. So that's somebody's cousin.
All right, Faye, what's your thought when you heard about this?
I don't know who this guy is. Is he black, white, Hispanic? Like who
I think he's sitting on. He's white. He was sitting on the Raptors bench. He was the guy who was always next to the head coach every season. You've seen him when you see his face. You've seen him before because I've seen him a million times, but I just never knew his name. But it doesn't even matter.
You call him Jerkin? What's his name? Nate Jerkin.
Jordan.
Yes. I think his family
like Jergens
owns, that lotion company, the Jergens.
Jergens lotion.
That's who he just Jergens. Here's what I'm gonna say about the Indiana Pacers. They're rebuilding.
Yeah.
You got a coach that nobody knows. I don't care. He ain't make no splash. I mean, I've been watching all of the sports this morning. I ain't hear nothing about no Nick jerking. Nobody talking about he was jerking nothing. Nothing. No commercials. Nothing. I don't know nothing about this kid. And that was the first time I even heard his name mentioned. You know what I mean? So, hey, he's going, and I think they're getting rid of Oladipo, and they probably what they're gonna do is clean house and start from scratch. They tanking. Who's coming out? That's what I want to know. Who's coming out that they see that they think they want? Because they're gonna go the Philly route and talk about trust the process.
See, that's funny you mentioned that. It's funny you mentioned that because I'm gonna say something. I got 2 things I want to say to you. One, I want to say is that The rumors have been going around swirling that Golden State is possibly looking to trade their number 2 pick because they're number 2. They're number 2. People are saying that they're not going to pick LaMelo Ball. They're really going to trade because it's on all the NBA boards right now. So I would throw it out to you first, Talent. I'm going to say, do you think Golden State is going to trade the pick, or you think they're going to draft somebody? And if they do draft somebody, do you think they're going to draft LaMelo Ball? Because I'm thinking they're gonna make a trade with somebody like Indiana and probably shock the world and probably get Victor Oladipo. You know what I mean? Or somebody. You know what I mean? You never know. But there are teams that are shopping stars. So I don't know.
But I think that Golden State is they're a cocky team, and nobody on that team thinks that they're at the age where they should be thinking about the future that far down the line. So I think they're gonna trade that pick, and they're gonna get a player like you just mentioned because they already, barring injury, they already in their brain got to be thinking, we're going right back to the chip. Like when we come back healthy, we're the guys to beat. So let's do what we've been doing. Don't change our formula for the last 6-7 years. We've been just plugging away, bringing the boogie, plugging away, bringing this one, plugging away. That's how they've been playing. We got our core players. We're good at the core. We just keep bringing in these good players that are already established. And add with plug and play. And I don't see them going and using that draft pick right now because they're that cocky. Steph, Clay, Draymond, them dudes don't think that they're on the other side of the spectrum at all. They think that they're still at that peak and we're going to contend and compete at that peak and let's plug and play.
2 pick, or do you sit there and say, let me build for the future and keep the pick? And then have somebody sit on the bench like LaMelo Ball and have him learn from the big 3 that are already there. What do you do if you're the GM for the Golden State Warriors?
First off, I probably trade the pick. But if you guys remember, Golden State does have a lot of young players on their team. All of those guys played all last year. That were their rookies. They picked up a lot of dudes. You know what I mean? Like everybody that played last year were all rookies and second-year players. So they got a bunch of rookies already.
None of them were a number 2 draft pick, though. None of them were as good.
No, you're right. Absolutely right. So yeah, I don't think like my thing is like who's coming out that can help them. You know what I mean? Like,
but this is a year when you don't know. That's the whole problem. You don't know.
All right, but what I'm saying is, to me, Golden State using the number 2 to pick up a point guard to sit him on the bench, it would be almost like it would, to me, if you switch it over to football, it's like Green Bay picking up a backup for Aaron Rodgers while he's still in his prime. Because clearly Stephen Clay and Draymond are still in their prime, and they're looking for somebody to help them get over the hump, to help them win, because they still got a lot of wins in them. So why pick up somebody who can't help you get over the hump and then have somebody for the future when you mortgaging right now?
Well, I'll say this. You got to think about this. They don't have to get LaMelo Ball right now. Everybody just is projecting LaMelo Ball to be number 1. They literally could pick some big that nobody's even looking at because they have number 2 pick. You know how it is when you get the pick. Like, right, Talent, when you get a pick, you can pick anybody you want. It's just that everybody in the world is picking LaMelo Ball. But this is a year, as we've been discussing, this is a year that's different because of COVID. You know what I mean? It's not like you have a clear-cut number 1 and you have a clear-cut number 2 like you normally would because we didn't have an NCAA tournament. So we can't project those top 5 guys like we normally could. So I don't know. I'll just throw this out to you one more time and just say to you, do you think that Golden State literally sits there and says, after clearly looking at, talking to our GM and everybody else, Melo Ball's not the guy. He ain't the guy. Maybe we should get a backup for Draymond, or maybe we should get another power forward to come help us. And Melo Ball is not the guy because listen, I don't even think Melo Ball should be the number 1 pick. That's just my opinion. But I don't know. What's your thought process, Tom?
Again, I think if I'm GM over there, I got the 2nd pick. I know that somebody's thirsty for LaMelo Ball. So even if I got to do it the old school way and snatch him and then trade, you know what I mean? There's 2 ways you can do this. You don't have to do it right now. You don't have to trade your pick right now and get something for it. You can easily go through the whole rigmarole, go through the motions, go through the night, snatch him because you know how valuable he is to the rest of the league, and then go shopping.
Great point. I didn't even think of it that way. Fig, let me ask you this. Do you think Melo Ball is going to be better than what everybody is thinking he's going to be? You know what I mean? Do you think he could be that? Because, younger brothers sometimes turn out to be a whole lot better than the older brothers. You know what I mean? He could be phenomenal. He could be the next, I'm not going to say the next LeBron James, but he could be the next Kevin Durant. He could be you never know. You know what I mean? You just never know until this guy gets in the league. But do you think he has the potential to be like one of the superstars in this league?
I do, because I don't know if you remember when Lonzo Ball first got drafted and they was talking to LeVar, the father. He was saying that his youngest son was going to be better than, he was going to be the best out of the three. Now you take in the fact that this kid, he played ball. He didn't play in college, which is a different system. He went overseas and played against grown men. And he developed his game over there, and he did very well over there. Now you take that experience and you bring it back, you know what I mean, to the NBA. There's a handful of players that came from overseas that did not do well. A lot of them did do well. A lot of our overseas players come to the NBA and they do well. Like look at Luka. Nobody knew what Luka was going to turn out to be. Nobody knew what Dirk was going to be. Back in the day, Drazen Petrovic, Ginobili, Parker, like, even to tell you the truth, a lot of people don't even put two and two together. Tim Duncan wasn't even. I mean, Tim Duncan is from someplace else. So you get a lot of experience going over there playing in those European leagues and against grown men. Those are grown men. And just last thing, and then I'll let you go. That was the reason the European ball had developed so much. That was the reason that the United States stopped sending college players to go play in the Olympics, because they had caught up and they was beating us. So they had to send the dream team to even compete. I mean, we blew them out with the dream team, but that's what made us start sending professionals, because overseas had caught up with our style of basketball. So you never know what he's going to be.
Let me just say this. Your points that you're making are extremely valid. But the only difference is the players, all the players you're mentioning, everything else, they come up from overseas and then they come here. We had a kid who's in America who went overseas at 16, played ball, and then now is coming back. That's never happened. So I understand exactly your point you're trying to make, but I think the only caveat to this is that this kid is different than everybody else, and he might be a superstar in the waiting, because at 16 he was playing with grown men. But he came from America, went to play with grown men, and then he came back. I mean, I could be wrong, and maybe he will be a superstar. But let me ask you. Let me move the.
One thing, isn't that what they said about Luka? Didn't he play like he was like real young like that?
No, Luka was overseas, grew up overseas, and came over here.
No. I'm saying, like, isn't that the age that he's like he was?
Oh yeah. But he started playing young. But he grew up under that system. He played ball with all those guys. He's been there. That's different than you're playing, like you mentioned, and you're playing here than going overseas, because it's two different types of ball. We all know that.
Right.
The game is different and everything else. But I got to mention this before Rodney comes in, and I want to throw you both got 60 seconds with this one before Rodney comes in, and then I want to make sure we cover our picks. Montrezl Harrell, you know how I keep bringing him up. My boy called me from LA last night telling me, Frank, you're not going to believe this. The hot topic on LA radio right now is Dwight Howard ain't coming back. And maybe one of the other two might not come back, other two bigs. But, I mean, with Dwight Howard not coming back, Javion Bell, they're not sure if they're going to opt him in and everything else. But Montrezl Harrell wants to stay in LA. The only way he stays in LA is if he stays and he plays for the Lakers. Now, Talon, do you see that happening? You got 60 seconds.
You shocked the hell out of me with the whole Dwight thing. I thought Dwight would be so thirsty he wasn't going nowhere. You know what I mean? It took him a long time.
Hold on, you got to remember now. It's not that he don't want to stay; it's whether or not the Lakers want him. You know what I mean? If the Lakers want him, he will stay. Right now, the conversation is on talk radio out there is that they don't want him anymore. So if they don't want him anymore and they can get another player, they're going to probably reach out to Harold. But here's the thing, too, is that will Harold play for them, because he would have to pay. He would have to play for a pay reduction because he's trying to get paid. This is his year. Now, if he wants to win a championship,
they're not gonna keep him. The Lakers, we talked about this 2 days ago. at the end of last week, let me tell you something. The Lakers they're trying to plug and play as well. Mm-hmm. They're in the plug and play position as well. So they're trying to plug and play. They're not going to pay but so much money to keep these pieces when they can bring in pieces on sale. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to Dwight Howard, if Dwight Howard, that's why I said if it was his idea to leave, is one thing I would be shocked because as thirsty as he was to go there. Yeah. Now, I don't see the Lakers organization saying we're going to get rid of him right now when you can probably get him again on sale for another year at least. I don't see that.
We'll see. We'll see. Fig, you got 30 seconds.
Yo, I just say this. Dwight Howard was he was their integral part, man. He was the enforcer on the Lakers team. He was the one who rattled the cage of the Joker, when they was playing and stuff like that. So for them to get rid of him, AD is not that dude, and neither is JaVale McGee. Who like, I don't know. And the players are looking to get paid. I don't know why they would get rid of him unless he just wants too much money. That's the only reason I see them getting rid of him.
Like I said, it's about money right now. I told you all yesterday, I think we had this conversation on it, I'm not sure, is that people are going to come to LA and they're going to play for a discount at the end of the day because they want to win. And the Lakers are putting together a symbol to get better. But anyway, it's time for Rodney Perry with I agree or I disagree. Actually, this segment called I disagree. So Rodney Perry, I know you disagree with something that we said. So where we at?
All right. Let's start where y'all left off, just for continuity's sake. Nobody cares about Dwight Howard. He can go, he can stay, it don't matter. If you got AD and you got LeBron James, you don't give a shit about the other 12 guys. I mean, you can really literally put anybody else. LeBron has proven us you don't have to be a great guy to rock with him, especially when I got this young man in AD that's cold. There's fives out that I can get to play to give me 3 minutes a game. JaVale McGee played the whole playoff 6 minutes. Mm-hmm. Dwight Howard looking in the audience trying to find a transvestite. So I just and no offense to LGBT community. Shouts out to Frank Pelican Brief Holder. This is what I think we realized with this last Pelican Brief. And the thing about the Pelican Brief, it's always plausible. It could actually happen. But I think what we found out this weekend with the Dallas Cowboys is Dak Prescott was way more important to them than they knew.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Dak Prescott is way more important. They need to pay that man. They need to pay him. They need to pay this man. Dak Prescott is way more important than y'all thought he was. Like, there's heartbeat guys. Mm-hmm. And it looks like that he must have been the heartbeat of that team that we didn't know about. Everybody looking at his on-the-field performance, and you're like, why this guy get his money? Maybe he's almost too important to the team. One thing about billionaires don't like when they can't control things. And so him breaking his leg might have been a gift and a curse. Y'all mentioned Ezekiel Elliott's T-shirt.
Yeah.
How you
like this?
Let me tell you something.
Now look at that, Ronnie. You see how I held that right there?
I did.
Now if I put it on the T-shirt, it just keeps sliding off. That's what I was talking about yesterday. That's what happened to the football.
I'm not gonna.
I'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Ronnie said, "I'm not gonna do this."
We talked about Buffalo, Kansas City. Man, what a great game, first of all.
Yes.
Great game. Kansas City Chiefs is just good, man. Like it's almost like what's the young man, the QB? What's his name?
Mahomes.
It's almost like Mahomes takes quarters off.
Yeah,
he does.
Like,
He does.
it's almost like he be bored. Like he's still a kid. He's still like a little boy.
He does.
He like he be in his mind. He be playing Madden. Like first quarter, he go make a sandwich.
Mahomes. Yeah, you're right. Mahomes is the Rajon Rondo of the NFL.
Playoff Mahomes.
and a video game yesterday on a couple of those moves, especially when he ran the ball and then he looked like he was running out of bounds. Then he circled and ran. But I was like, yo, this is a video game.
I'm telling you, the guy be looking so bored to me sometimes. And it's like, you know, when you see these little close games, you're like, let me see if I can come back. Like he giving himself all his own little, you know, checklist of things to do. Cam Newton, sorry, Frank. I think Mr. Fig was completely disrespectful. And if you punch him, I ain't gonna say nothing. Because I've never seen Frank upset. I've been knowing Frank 13, 15, 20 years. Frank was over there like, Fig said it so harmlessly, you know, maybe New England just ain't shit. Frank was like, what you say?
Yo,
What you say, homie?
It wasn't me, Rodney. I'm just repeating what all the pundits been saying for years. They said that the Patriots ain't got nobody.
They don't have no receivers, but they got people. All right. Indianapolis. They got a brand new head coach. It never ceases to amaze me the extent the powers would be to go to get somebody white. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. This is the old black man knowledge. It's 15 black coaches waiting, and you go dig up a white man nobody know? Really? Okay. It's Indianapolis. Somebody said they was good. Indianapolis ain't been good for 5 years. They got to do something. Oladipo is out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he gone.
Oladipo is out of there.
Yeah, he's gone.
So with that, I'm sorry, Indy. Y'all just got to tough it out. It don't matter. You don't want to pay a coach no money, so you got to get a coach that's gonna be cheap. He don't have no team. He gonna lose, and so you can kind of bide your time with this new coach. So I think that's what's happening, because they like, I think somebody said they're in the rebuilding mode, and it's starting at the coach too. If the coach happen to be good, you're a genius. If he luck up and win 4 games, you're like, oh yeah, we knew that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Okay, who brought up Tim Duncan? Was it you, Fig?
Yeah, he's from
No, you don't know, Fig. That's the point. You don't know
like
Tim
St.
Duncan
Croix or something like that. He's from the West Indies, man.
He is from St. Croix.
No, that's Virgin Islands. That's America.
The Virgin Islands.
Yeah, that's American.
U.S. Virgin Islands.
It's still West Indies, man. I mean, so is Puerto Rico. But I mean, you know, when they have a hurricane, Trump don't send no money down there, so they foreign.
It is still a U.S. territory, but you are absolutely right. I know I missed yesterday. Apologies for that. Shouts out to the Braves for losing that game, completely blowing it. It's in keeping with Atlanta tradition to.
He almost threw up. He almost threw up.
They blew it. I thought they would bail out Atlanta, and they didn't. But I will say this: they had an international strip competition at the Magic City last night, and the young lady from Atlanta won. So,
Okay.
Wow. You couldn't call us, Rodney. You couldn't send us no tickets. You couldn't take no secret
I'm
video.
just reporting the news, man. I'm just reporting the news.
No
You
inside
didn't go.
video.
Young lady.
You didn't go, huh? You didn't go. Is that buffalo wings? What is that sauce?
I didn't go, but I did come.
All right, y'all. That's my man Rodney Perry. When I disagree, we got to bring in Stack, and then after that, we got to have Fig give us our picks, see how we did last week. So, Stack, what we get right or wrong?
Hey, y'all got it mostly right, but I mean, other than Fig saying that Cam Newton's the only reputable name on the Patriots, forget about the Pro Bowl wide receiver Julian Edelman. Forget about the best cornerback in the league.
Hold on. Stop right there, Stack. Julian Edelman is on my fantasy. He been on the reserve for 2 seasons.
You're right. Ain't nobody throwing him the ball no more.
Listen, Julian Edelman is 150 years old.
It don't matter. He's still on the team.
It's okay. So Sony Michel. What about Sweet Feet James White? What about Stephon Gilmore, the best corner in the league? What about Devin McCourty, one of the best safeties in the league? These are Pro Bowlers.
Sony Michel hurt.
Yeah, now he hurt now.
Yo, man, nobody even buys Sony anymore.
It's cool. Who's your team again? Who's your team again, Fig?
We don't buy Sony anymore. We strictly Samsung.
Who's your team again, Fig?
Hey, Stacks, listen, I'm sorry. The
state of New York got 3 teams.
I'm sorry.
One of them.
I'm never talking about the Patriots again. I'm sorry.
All right, can we get to the big? You done, Stack? Before I get to the big.
One more guy. I think it's Bjorgren.
I don't know.
The coach, and he came up through the D League ranks. He used to play. He used to coach under Nick Nurse in the D League, and then they won a championship in the D League. And then when Nick Nurse went up to Toronto, he was a head coach in the D League, and he was going to the finals a lot. Then they brought him up in 2015 to Toronto. So, as far as like player development and stuff like that, he's been making a name for himself for the last 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Indiana is rebuilding, so I don't think they should spend money on a coach either, because I think Miles Turner and Oladipo are out of there.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, Fig, you ready to give us our picks to see how we did last week?
Am I still in the league, Fig? Is Stack still in the league? Had a rough week.
Stack, let him go to the pick. Go ahead, Fig.
I'll go this week. This week we had Rodney Perry 500, 7-7. 7 wins, 7 losses. Frank, also 500, 7-7.
Really?
We got talent. 10 wins, 4 losses.
Whoa.
Not bad, T. We got Stacks, also 10 wins, 4 losses. And I'm right behind your guys with 9 and 5.
I'm averaging 10. I'm a double-digit scorer.
You got Stacks. You got 10 every week. Stacks got 10 every single week. Yeah, he got 10 wins every week.
Well, let me just say this for the record.
But one was questionable because that first week we let him pick Miami after they already had played.
If you take that win away, I'm still beating all of y'all.
Take that win away.
Take it away.
Take it away.
Take it away.
Right.
Take it away.
Take everything away. All right, before we go, I wanted to talk about, of course, there's some 2 big rumors that's going on right now. Talon brought up one before the show started. I'm gonna start with the second rumor, and I'm gonna go around the thing and see whether y'all think it's true or false. It's gonna happen or not. I heard this morning that on talk radio and everything else that the Celtics are trying to trade, or at least having thought process of trading Kemba Walker. That's what I heard. Now,
wow.
I'm gonna start with you, Fig. Do you think the Celtics should trade Kemba Walker? And one of the rumors is out there they're trying to trade him to the LA Clippers for Paul George. So, do you think that makes sense to you or not? I'll start with you, Fig, because I'm gonna go on record right now and think that that's just talk radio bluff. I don't think the Celtics are gonna do that at all. I think they will make a trade, but it ain't gonna be for Kemba Walker. That's what I think. But go ahead. What you think, Fig? Come on,
that to me it would be a horrible trade because Kemba Walker was a little gimpy last year, and I think he's a really good point guard. And even when he's not scoring, he has the ability to break down the defense and get other people involved. So
Right.
to get rid of Kemba Walker, I think that would be a horrible move. And also, especially if it was a Paul George, that would be horrible.
I agree. Talon, what you thought?
I think that'll be the stupidest thing we've seen in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's gonna happen if this is true? Boston's gonna start alienating themselves as a team and a place people want to go to.
Mm-hmm. If
You
they
can't become that team that's one and done.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bring somebody in, let him out. Bring this one in, let him out. When you become that, Boston is better than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Certain cities are better than that. When you look at a Boston franchise, you don't see that, and you don't want to become that team. You don't want to be the revolving door.
Right. I agree with that. Rodney Perry, what you think?
I'm trying to I'm trying to find some give a damn about this. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't care about Kemba Walker or the Boston Celtics. I am a Northeastern fan, and because I know they care, let me try to make something similar to this. Kemba Walker ain't playing no way.
Oh,
Why
man.
not replace him with a guy that's gonna play? You know, Paul George is gonna play. So, and Paul George, you know, maybe his therapist live in Boston. We don't know.
Oh, that's low. That's low. Stack, what you think?
Absolute hogwash, pelican grief, poppycock.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. Listen. Why? We already have a log jam at the wing. We got the two young up-and-coming wings, Tatum and Brown, and then Gordon Hayward on top of that.
Yep,
You want Paul George to the mix?
Yeah, why bring him in?
That doesn't even make sense. And then Kemba was hurt last season. I mean, even as a decoy, Kemba is more valuable than Paul George at this point.
I agree. Now, last question. I'm gonna have Talent throw that thing out there because Talent heard the rumor. And Talent, tell everybody out there the rumor you heard in New York that they talking about.
Lies.
Well, the rumor, as of yesterday, the rumor is this: the New York Knicks are going after Westbrook. They're going to trade draft picks along with R.J. Barrett and Frank Nikita. Both of those players plus 2 draft picks to bring in Russell Westbrook.
Rodney Perry, that good move? Rodney
Is
Perry.
it breaking up to anybody else?
He's still trying to find some give a fuck.
Rodney,
Is it on me?
Yeah, it's on you. It's on you.
Now, I heard another rumor. I don't know if this is true. That the Knicks are also going after Sue Bird. So, and I think Sue Bird could actually turn that franchise around. Let's just go ahead and admit anybody that go to New York might as well jump off a flat planet Earth.
He obviously disagree. So, Stack, what you think?
I love Westbrook. He's one of my favorite players to watch, but I think they should keep Barrett and let go of Knox, and I'd be for it.
Yeah, Barrett is the future. He's definitely, you build around Barrett. You don't trade him away. That's what I thought, right? But anyway, Fig, what you think?
Man, earlier in the year, I didn't hear this, but earlier in the year, I heard that Mitchell Robinson and R.J. Barrett were the 2 players on the Knicks that were just absolutely untouchable.
Right.
Which makes a lot of sense to me because those dudes they had the most potential and the most promise of the New York Knicks. Now, if you get rid of, Ntilikina or Ntilikina or Kevin Knox or any other player, I can see that. But not those 2, and not for old ass Russell Westbrook. But my caveat to this whole thing is that is the makeup of the Knicks. Mortgage your future to get an aging player. And if they do that again, I'm telling you right here on live, on national, in front of all our fans, I mean, if they get rid of him, I'm officially no longer a Knicks fan. I'm turning in my cards.
Talon, you got the last word. What you thought?
Well, my last word is I feel just as distraught as Fig. I don't like it. I mean, he's a good player. I do know New York likes that rah-rah, and they likes to bring that rah-rah for the fan base. But the next season is going to be without a fan base, like live and in person. So I wouldn't really worry about it. I wouldn't pay somebody for that. In the normal Knicks setting, I understand. They like that. That's why they brought the Stephon Marburys back and all of these players that can incite a riot inside of the Garden. We ain't in those times right now. The climate is way off. I'm with Fig. It doesn't make sense, but it is the same old thing.
They're trying to sell tickets.
Yo, Amir Sealy is watching, and he said we always get rid of the players with potential.
Right.
That's Amir Sealy.
Tell everybody out there how they can follow you so we can get this ball rolling. Tell everybody how to follow.
I don't want anybody to follow me today. I need time to myself.
Paul George.
Yo, you can follow your boy and comedian Fig, and tell him you ain't gonna have no time to yourself because I'm gonna be replying to all the people on your social media platforms. I'm gonna be over there.
That's right.
The screen is froze. Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, we can see you in here.
Yeah, we hear you.
And see you.
Is it my turn?
Yes, your turn.
Yes.
Oh, shit. I swear, y'all always like this.
That's your Wi-Fi.
My Wi-Fi is wonderful.
Okay.
All right. What's up, y'all? This weekend, Riddles Comedy Club Chicago, RodneyPerry.com for the website. Get your tickets, all that stuff, social media, Rodney Perry Live, COVID. Stay away.
Follow me, guys. Follow me to the first box seats NFL pick championship. Okay? Follow me there. And if you can't catch me there, catch me at Stackanova on Instagram and Twitter.
Stack had to throw that out there. All right, y'all. This is Franco. That was Rodney Perry who just left. That's Talent. That's Fig. That's Stack. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 1 to 2 o'clock. We're on every day from 1 to 2. This is a show called The Box Seats. We're on the Humor Mill channel. Download the app. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And if you can, call your cable service provider, get them to add the channel too, because we up there too. So anyway, we'll see y'all tomorrow, 1 o'clock. We got some guests coming up this week and can't wait to tell y'all about that. So, hey, we'll see y'all tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Thanks a lot. See you.